risquons de le payer très cher. Et peut-être même très vite.
Le Conseil a pris les dispositions d'urgence. Nous envoyons en mission un des meilleurs servants.
Un ennemi dont nous ignorons tout menace Gandhar. Tu dois découvrir où est cet ennemi, qui est cet ennemi, savoir ce qu'il prépare contre nous, mesurer sa puissance, évaluer ses armes et ses moyens, deviner ses secrets et percer ses faiblesses en espérant qu'il en ait.
Yeah, I know that clip isn't the best clip on there. It's very pixelated, but I'll tell you this much. This movie looks impressive animation-wise. This is directed by René Laloux. It's based off of a book by Jean-Pierre Andevon. But I gotta say, the trailer for this looks really impressive. The animation looks really incredible for something of this caliber. I never seen the movie before. Like I said, I didn't even know about it until I actually looked it up on Wikipedia, but now that I've seen clips of it, it really does make me want to see this movie. Like, I really do want to see this movie largely because of the animation. It has this very nice heavy metal style animation to it, and I don't know, it's one I'll definitely want to I definitely do want to check out. Hopefully that I can convince you guys to check it out too. So look it up on YouTube, Gandhar. I just saw the clip, the movie is on there, so I'll check it out at some point. So that's Gandhar. Let's go ahead and move on to the next movie. And the next movie is Penn and Teller Get Killed.
Watch closely. 5. Abacadoo. You see it? 4. No, you don't. 3. Presto. Magic is fake. 2. Wow. Do what you want to the girl, but leave me alone. I've always been a sucker for classy Euro trash and sunglasses. Let's got his stomach first. You originally from the Philippines?
I mean, the concept here, Penn and Teller, in a movie about what people think they do during their daily lives and getting caught up in this action adventure, that's a lot of good potential there for a movie. And I'm not gonna lie, parts of this trailer were pretty tempting, but judging from what I hear about this movie is not as good as those trailers make it out to be. I mean, there are parts in this trailer where I did get a genuine laugh out of them the first time I saw them, but this is directed by Arthur Penn, and Arthur Penn, if you don't know who this director is, he's been the director of such movies as Bonnie and Clyde. He also did Little Big Man, The Chase, Dead of Winter, Target. These great movies of differing for variations of how you perceive them. But this is the last film he directed, and from what I've been hearing about this one, it's not as good as a lot. This trailer gives it the credit to be, but I don't know. I might give it a shot one day, but I'm not going to go into it with the highest of expectations after what I've heard. So there you go. That's my thoughts on the trailer for Penn and Teller Get Killed. Let's go and move on to the next movie, and that is C.H.U.D 2, Bud the C.H.U.D.
These are C.H.U.D. Cannibalistic humanoid underground dwellers. Prepare for horror, laughs, and thrills in this outrageous sequel to the home video hit C.H.U.D. C.H.U.D 2, Bud the C.H.U.D. Starring Brian Robbins from Head of the Class, Garrett Graham of Police Academy 6, Robert Vaughn, Bianca Jagger, Larry Linville of MASH, and many other popular stars.
A dead body is nothing to be afraid of.
He's suave.
Is he heterosexual?
He's charming. He's different.
Well, he eats people. I guess that could be interpreted as personality quirk.
He's Bud the Chud, a half-dead, decomposing humanoid, the result of a military experiment gone haywire.
Colonel Masters, there was a reason that these creatures were kept underground. For instance, the little matter of the drug's cannibalistic side effects.
Now he's loose on the town, spreading the horrifying Chud disease everywhere.
What in the wide world of sports is going on in here?
Yeah, this is about what I expect from your typical horror sequel. Like, the first movie's supposed to be taken seriously, and then with the second film, it's just like, let's add a little bit of comedy to it. And I'm not gonna lie, some parts of this did make me laugh a little bit. I like that there are some more notable names in this particular film. But yeah, it looks like your typical horror sequel that's trying to be kind of a horror comedy, like another Evil Dead, but there were parts of this that did make me laugh, but it's not something I'm going to rush out to see anytime soon. Plus, now I know where that line, what in the wide world of sports is going on around here. I've heard it so many times, I've never figured out what movie it's from until now, so there you go, that's something. Let's go ahead and move on to the next movie, and that is Kris Kristofferson in Welcome Home.
Jeremiah T. Robbins, spotted, bagged, and buried. Killed in action, June 12, 1970.
But 17 years later, Jake Robbins returns home.
According to your records, you were married to Sarah Renee Marston, May 1970, on your R&R in Hawaii. 1 month before you went down.
His wife is remarried.
Why did you have to come back? Do you have any idea what I went through those first years? Not knowing if you were alive, if I'd ever see you again? It was almost a relief when they told me you were dead.
His son doesn't know him.
All I want is for you to go back to wherever you came from and leave us alone.
The real war is just beginning. Kris Kristofferson.
I'm beginning to get the idea my being alive is not exactly a cause for celebration around here.
JoBeth Williams. Sam Waterston. Brian Keith. Welcome Home.
Boy, so much went for this movie. I mean, Franklin Schaffner, who also directed Planet of the Apes and Patton, directed this movie. Music by Henry Mancini, a cast that includes Kris Kristofferson, JoBeth Williams, and Sam Waterston. And it looks like your typical melodramatic Vietnam War drama. I mean, we already had a great Vietnam War drama in 1989 with Born on the 4th of July, so... And this came out before Born on the 4th of July did, and that movie was a far superior film than this was. I guess from the trailer for it, it doesn't look terrible, but it looks like your typical melodramatic, over-the-melodramatic Lifetime movie of the week type of film. Like a movie you would see... Back then, you would see it on NBC or CBS as the movie of the week, but... Other than that, though... It looks about as generic as you can get for a movie of this caliber, so... Let's go ahead and move on to the next movie, and the next movie is Limit Up.
Chicago, Illinois, home of the Blues, the Cubs, and the very last stronghold of male superiority.
Traders in those pits control the food supply of the planet. It's beyond the capacity of women.
Enter one Casey Balls, a working girl with lots of heart.
Sorry, that's all I got.
Well, thank you much.
She's about to discover there's no limit to how far a woman can go if she has the will.
All I need is a break.
Come on, they'll make a woman poke before they give her a trader's badge.
You're going to be the soybean queen.
I really want to accomplish something in my life.
Well, sex will be out of the question.
Nancy Allen.
Are you man enough to trade with me or not?
Dean Stockwell.
I just lost $100,000.
Ray Charles.
Been a very bad girl night.
Brad Hall.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Oh.
And Denitra Vance as Nike.
Oh my God! You again!
In a Cinderella story with a twist.
I love that part.
Limit Up.
Well, that escalated quickly. I mean, geez, what happened there? I mean, it starts off looking like a Trading Places ripoff, kind of, but then they add this character Denitra Vance as kind of like a wicked witch or something like that, or some kind of mystical spear with magical powers. And it's just like, what the hell is going on in this movie? Ray Charles has a big role in it too. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it certainly looks bizarre in so many ways. I mean, you got Nancy Allen, Ray Charles, Brad Hall, Denitra Vance, Dean Stockwell, but yeah, I don't know what to think about this movie. I think this movie was just like, it started off like a Trading Places knockoff, and then they said, you know what's popular right now? Movies with supernatural elements, which is a beast, like Beetlejuice. Let's add one character with supernatural powers and see what happens there. I haven't seen this movie, so I don't know if that's what's happening or not, but that's certainly what it looks like from this trailer. I mean, that escalated really fast. That's all I got to say about Limit Up. So let's go ahead and move on to the next movie, and that is Stepfather 2.
Door.
3. Cheese.
He's old-fashioned.
This is my first marriage. I just want to do everything right.
He's totally committed.
I find that everything in life begins or ends with a family.
He's too good to be true.
You will never find a better family man than me.
Stepfather 2.
Make room for Daddy.
Rated R.
God bless Terry O'Quinn, man. He's the one thing that keeps these movies somewhat watchable. Even then, this really doesn't work as a movie. I mean, it's basically the same thing as the first movie. It's this guy who moves in with another family, becomes the stepfather, and then they find out his secret past, and it's just lather, rinse, and repeat again. I mean, I guess they were trying to make the stepfather kind of like the next Freddy or Jason, but you got to have some kind of a hook to it or something cool with him. But no, this character just keeps doing the same thing over and over again. He just keeps going to these widowing mothers who don't have a husband, has a family, gets married to him, and then just goes through the same kind of thing when people start to realize who he really is. It's just like, okay, why do I want to see that for multiple movies? It works for the first movie, but not for the same movie over and over again. And they made another one after this one. Even with the remake they did back in 2009, I believe, it's pretty much just the same movie as the first movie, and there's no real hook to it. It's just like, let's remake it for the sake of remaking it because people know that name, the Stepfather. So that's my thoughts on Stepfather 2. We've mostly looked at these movies, and most of them have been pretty mediocre, but let's go ahead and talk about the most significant movie on this list, and that is the last movie that made its debut in America in 1989, and that is Akira.
Tokyo is about to explode. Streamline Pictures presents a state-of-the-art adventure, Akira.
Not only is Akira one of the greatest achievements in animation, but in terms of action, science fiction, and just movies in general, it's a landmark film. It's a movie that has stood the test of time, still has great animation that still holds up to this very day, has a great story that still holds up to this very day. The action, the emotional moments, the heartfelt moments, the moments where the sci-fi elements really take over and go gonzo crazy. You could tell how much of a significant impact this movie had on pop culture because you see this movie referenced all over the place, whether it's in South Park, Batman the Animated Series, The Simpsons. Anything and everything has taken something from this particular movie, and it's a classic movie. It's a movie that just holds up on so many levels, and it's largely helped because of this fantastic animation by TMS. TMS Animation, by the way, would later go on to do the animation for shows like Tiny Toon Adventures, Animaniacs, Batman the Animated Series, Superman the Animated Series. They would have their hand on some other animated movies too, but most of them did not meet the same success factor that this movie did. This is just a classic movie on so many levels. It's a movie that you can watch so many times and still be amazed by it after all these years. And it's hard to believe that people still want to try to remake this for live action and try to get that same feeling to it. But you're not going to be able to get that. You're just not going to be able to get that from this movie whatsoever. No matter how hard Warner Brothers tries to make this movie, they've been trying to make a live action movie for almost 20 years now. Maybe more than that. I'm not entirely sure, but you just can't replicate that no matter who you get for this movie. Even if you get somebody like who they have been getting recently, like Taika Waititi, or even somebody like Denis Villeneuve, who did Dune, which was fantastic. Even I don't even think they could get it right, because one of the big problems that they had with getting this movie made in live action form was because Warner Brothers wanted more creative control. They wanted to make it more like a typical American action film. You can't really do that. They wanted product placement. They wanted young, sexy actors. So is people that don't really have the talent but are recognizable names, and you can't really do that. There was even a point 10 years ago when they were going to make this movie, and they were going to get Keanu Reeves to play Kaneda. Keanu Reeves is not playing, and Kaneda are two very different age groups altogether. So thank God that didn't happen. I love Keanu Reeves, but even he couldn't make that work. So bottom line is, don't remake Akira in live action. That's the one thing I want to make clear from this. But just go watch the original movie again. It's still a classic movie. It still holds up to this very day. It's a phenomenal movie. It's one that you have to see. It's one of those great movies that you need to see before you die. It's a fantastic film. I can't recommend it enough. Akira, just a classic film.
I think most people want to be bad, because it is bad. Oh, we have cops. Except the cop's the guy who wants to do it worst of all.
Hands up.
Internal Affairs is the most important division on the force. We have to be better than the other cops.
What do you think he's doing?
A lot of things. I want you to kill my mother and father.
You go after Dennis Peck right or wrong and you don't get him, you're dead in the department. And if you do get him, it could be even worse.
We're in trouble, aren't we?
You know anything about this kid bringing an ambulance?
You have a very pretty wife, don't you?
Do you have to kiss every single person at the party tonight? A little skinny for my taste, but they say skinny ones give good.
Hey, Sergeant!
What do you want to talk to me about?
Who'd you have lunch with? Who'd you have lunch with?
Do you have enough for a formal complaint?
No.
Then shut up.
All those friends you have on the force, you don't have them anymore.
Police officer!
Richard Gere.
I'm gonna take care of things, don't worry about it.
Andy Garcia.
He's a dirty cop. You testify against Dennis Peck, we'll grant you immunity.
Did he contact you?
Lock the door.
Are you all right?
Yeah, lock the door.
Don't say anything.
Take it off.
Hi, Raymond. Internal Affairs.
Perhaps I spoke too soon. Internal Affairs is actually a pretty good movie. I'm really not gonna lie. I was actually kind of surprised. Like I said before, January is not usually the best month, but every once in a while, a movie comes along in January that's actually not as bad as people think it is, or even actually is good. And this is one of those prime examples of a rare good movie in January. This is actually a pretty decent movie. I was actually kind of surprised when I saw this movie. But, no, it's actually pretty good. Like, I do like this movie a lot. I like Richard Gere and Andy Garcia in this movie. I think they're giving a good performances. I like the dark tone this movie has. This is directed by Mike Figgis, who would later go on to direct Leaving Las Vegas, which is another fantastic movie of his. And, yeah, it's a pretty good movie. It's a movie that it's a thriller that keeps you on the edge of your seat. It makes you want to see what's going on. It makes you want to see what the big twist is going to be at the end. It makes you invested in what's going on. And it's just a pretty good movie. It's a rare feat for January in particular, but it's a pretty good movie. And overall, it's actually a good movie to start the year for Richard Gere, who would have a pretty good 1990, as we'll see later on down the road. But Yeah, Internal Affairs is actually pretty good. I would say definitely check it out. I was actually pleasantly surprised by this one, honestly. It's a good action. It's a good thriller, directed very well by Figgis. Features great performances by Guerin Garcia. Yeah, I'd recommend this movie, Internal Affairs. Definitely check it out. So let's go ahead and move on to the next movie, and that is Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3.
Some tales are told, then soon forgotten. But a legend is forever. Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. Now, from the producers of A Nightmare on Elm Street, the real terror begins.
You thought I was kidding when I said they tried to make Leatherface the next Freddy Krueger. Well, that's pretty much what they did here. New Line Cinema, who had put out the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, actually bought the rights to the series from the Canon Group after they shut down. This movie actually got an X rating when they sent it to the Motion Picture Association of America, and they actually had to make cuts to it and had to push the film back because it was supposed to come out in November of '89, and then got pushed back to January. And so here it is now in January, re-rated R, and it claims to be the most controversial horror film ever, which I don't know. I thought I Spit on Your Grave was considered the most controversial horror film at the time, but what do I know? But what I do know is this movie is pretty bad. It's not a very good movie. It's another bad Texas Chainsaw Massacre sequel, quite honestly. I mean, it just really is. It's like it doesn't really have a lot there that the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre had. Even the remake for Texas Chainsaw Massacre was much better than this movie is. I mean, it like I said, it just felt like they were trying way too hard to make this the next Nightmare on Elm Street type of franchise, and they just couldn't, and it just failed on arrival. It was dead on arrival with them, and it really shut the series down for a good chunk until they actually made another sequel 5 years later. That one which had Renee Zellweger and Matthew McConaughey in it, which was Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation. But yeah, Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3 is just another sequel that is mostly just forgotten in time, and for pretty good reason, because it's not very good. So anyway, on to the next movie, which is Ski Patrol.
From the makers of Police Academy comes Ski Patrol.
Nope, can't do it whatsoever. Nope. I have to. As you can tell, if you've been reading my stuff on the website for the last couple of months, I have a vendetta against the Police Academy movies. I think they're the worst franchise of movies ever. So when I hear from the makers of Police Academy, my expectations go, pfft. But, I don't know, I'll give it a fair shot. Why not? I mean, it can't be any worse than Police Academy, right? Right?
A comedy that goes over the edge. It's a mountain full of hot dogs.
How you doing, ladies?
And dangerous curves.
Give you a push, man?
Where good and evil.
Time to put a little tarnish on Ski Patrol's shine.
They're everywhere!
Are going head to head. Head to toe.
Oh, much better! Oh.
And head to snow. Ski Patrol. They've got 24 hours to save snowy peaks.
Just do it!
From the vile clutches of Sam Maris.
I hate snow.
What?
Roof.
Yeah.
Make it bang.
Ow!
Yes! Any more of this crap? And I'm gonna close this mountain down.
Get down! I love it!
This is better than sex!
It's got action.
Light 'em up.
Danger.
Oh!
Romance.
I have never met a man like you.
I'll bet. And animal magnetism. Ski patrol.
Nope. Can't do it. Can't do it. I have to do it. I have to do it. I have to talk about this. You made it worse than Police Academy. I don't know how you did that, but, well, okay. When it says from the makers of Police Academy, it only means that the producer of this movie, is the person behind Police Academy, and that's Paul Maslansky. And, doesn't help the fact that the movie looks completely terrible. I mean, it looks absolutely horrendous. I mean, I can't believe how bad this looks. I mean, you've got, I guess for the sake of the notoriety of this movie, you've got some notable names in it, like Paul Feig, who would later go on to direct such movies as Bridesmaids, Ghostbusters, A Simple Affair. Leslie Jordan is in this movie. George Lopez is here. Ray Walston, Martin Mull. That's it. Comedy looks terrible. The jokes don't even look like they're even trying to stick anything to the wall and see if it's funny. No. I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm not going to walk away this time. That's all I'm going to say about this movie. And I dare somebody to try to tell me that Ski Patrol is actually a decent movie. I dare anybody to say that. But let's just move on to the last film. Let's move on to a hopefully better movie. Anthony Edwards and Forest Whitaker in Downtown.
Sergeant Dennis Curran is a downtown cop who survives on instinct.
You better keep talking, boy. I'm throwing a switch on you myself.
He fights dirty, and he works alone.
What the hell you want me for?
But he's about to get the one thing he doesn't need.
I want to be a cop, Dennis.
A partner.
Back off.
Hey, Curran, I'm going with you.
I just think it's kind of risky to jeopardize another officer like that, especially when it's me.
Now, Curran's greatest threat isn't waiting in the streets. It's sitting on the seat beside him.
Gotta be honest, I haven't spent much time in places like this.
You stay in the car, Country Day.
I got him. If you can question the suspect, you should read him his rights first.
You know, it's damn refreshing to see that kind of professionalism these days.
Just stay in the car. Would you please stop telling me to do that? You're the right thing, Sergeant!
No problem. I had it totally under control. Give me something I can use.
That is one of the worst violations of department ethics I have ever... I told you to stay here, boy!
Forest Whitaker.
Get off my desk.
Anthony Edwards.
Put your hands up. You're under arrest.
They're teaming up and going downtown.
Well, they could at least call this movie what it really is. Anthony Edwards and Forest Whitaker getting the shit smacked out of each other while the other drives a car. I mean, Jesus, how many shots of this movie were there where it was either Anthony Edwards or Forest Whitaker with their legs outside of the car as the car is going completely out of control and just hitting walls and all that. I mean, I counted at least 3 different times in this trailer that happened. But, yeah. Downtown, this is directed by Richard Benjamin. Richard Benjamin, of course, is a relatively well-known comedian. He also did stuff like City Heat. He made The Money Pit, which is a good movie. Little Nikita, My Stepmother is an Alien, Mermaids, Made in America, Milk Money, Mrs. Winterbourne. And he also gave us The Majesty of Marcy X, which we'll get to that sometime down the road. But as you can see, we have Downtown, which is basically just, it's Lethal Weapon again. It's Lethal Weapon, except Anthony Edwards isn't as crazy as Mel Gibson, and Forest Whitaker is not as old as Danny Glover. That's pretty much just all the movie is. And this movie's got a pretty impressive cast in it, too. Besides them, you got Penelope Ann Miller, Joe Pantoliano. You've got music by Alan Silvestri of the Back to the Future franchise. They could have made, with that cast and crew there, they could have made something really special or funny, but it is what you think it is. It's a generic buddy cop movie. Two guys that hate each other, and then by the end of the movie, they become best friends. That kind of thing. And, yeah, I mean, that trailer doesn't really do anything to make me impressed about this movie. It's just kind of, like, I know what it's going to be like. But, I guess the only thing that was surprising was how much that Anthony Edwards and Forrest Whitaker got the shit smacked out of them with the cars. I mean, good lord. But other than that, though, that's pretty much all I have to say about this movie. It's just kind of there. It's a movie that you probably would expect for the month of January. So, there you go. That's Downtown.
Perfection. A scorched outpost in the middle of nowhere.
You know how close I am to leaving this place right now? How close?
Maybe that's why Val and Earl decided to leave town.
Hey, hold up. That's Edgar Deans.
They just picked the wrong day to do it.
Jeez. You guys better get the hell out of here. There's a killer on the loose.
Who could be doing it?
Is that a snake?
I'll give you boys $5 for this.
20.
That's how they get you. They're under the ground.
What the hell are those things? How could they eat a whole station wagon?
But where do they come from? I vote for outer space. No way these are local boys.
You see, they're headed right for us.
No Richter scale can measure it.
They're coming!
No scientist can explain it.
Bert, they're under the ground.
You didn't get penetration even with the elephant gun.
Run, run!
And no one knows what to call it.
Mega worms or suckers or suckoids. Now, this valley is just one long smorgasbord.
Now, it's up to Val and Earl to save the world.
That's one big mother. Who died and made you Einstein?
And they know just what to do. Flip for it.
Damn.
Kevin Bacon, Fred Ward. Tremors.
I mean, if you love the creature features of the 1950s and 60s, this is right up your alley, because this really is a loving homage to those movies with a modern twist and something that makes it so unique, so clever, so hilarious. I love this movie, man. Kevin Bacon, Fred Ward, they're working off each other very well. Michael Gross is in this movie. He's very good. So is Reba McEntire. It's just a fun movie. It's a fun, good time all around. Like, it's a fun horror comedy. It's a fun sci-fi comedy. The effects are actually pretty good for a movie with a small budget like this. It's just a ton of fun, man. And honestly, with the Tremors movies, these movies are so entertaining that no matter how silly they get with each passing film that comes out, each direct-to-video sequel, I still check them out. I still have a very good time watching them. Even the latest ones, the one with Shrieker Island with Michael Gross and John Heder, was a ton of fun. They're guilty pleasure movies for me, but the first movie is just a great movie all around. The direct-to-video sequels are fun guilty pleasures for what they are. I love them, man. I love the Tremors movies so much. But the first Tremors is a classic all around. Great movie. Need I say more? Okay, moving on to the next movie, and then that movie is Jessica Lange in Music Box.
What do we know about our parents?
He raised me. He was my mom, he was my dad, my best friend. We never had any secrets.
You know nothing. The more we love them, the less we know about their lives.
United States of America versus Michael J. Lasso.
This is a mistake. You got the wrong Michael J. Laszlo.
The hell we do.
That's not your grandpa. I didn't kill anybody or hurt anybody.
He wants me to represent him.
You're gonna need all the help you can get.
I need to know everything about you, everything that they might know.
I've spent my whole life trying to forget what I saw. I have to remember.
My father is simply an innocent man who is unjustly accused.
Is this the man that you knew as Mishka?
They're accusing you of horrible things, Papa.
It's not me.
You got the wrong man.
Is this the man? It's not me. I didn't do this.
Weren't you a father, Papa?
You can't tell me if you don't have any doubts about your father.
It's not me. It's not me.
Well, what were you then?
Most notable thing about this movie is that Jessica Lange was nominated for an Academy Award for this. But other than that, though, Music Box has kind of a good idea to it, but just a lack of execution. This is written by Joe Esterhaus, who would later become known for movies such as Basic Instinct and Showgirls. Erwin Winkler, the producer of Rocky, made this movie. Costa Garvis directed this film. He also did Betrayed, and I'm trying to see if he also did... Yeah, he did Missing. Okay, Missing with Jack Lemmon and Sissy Spacek. And this is not one of his better movies. It's got a good premise to it, but just the lack of execution. It feels like another one of those melodramatic movies that doesn't really work as well as I think it should. I guess the only thing that works about it are the performances by Jessica Lange and Armin Merrill Stahl and Frederick Forrest. I think they all did a pretty good job here, but that's pretty much all I got on this movie. It's mostly forgettable, and certainly Esterhaus would have better success, if you want to call it that, in the years to come, but we'll get to those movies when we get to those movies. So, on to the next film. Everybody Wins.
Tom, I need you. Somewhere between seduction and murder.
Now listen, Angela, I have to know what your involvement in.
The truth. What are you afraid of? Is waiting to be told.
This case goes to the top of the mountain, Tom.
Nick Nolte.
It's like chasing feathers in a tornado.
Deborah Winger.
Help me!
Everybody Wins.
Starts Friday, January 19th at a theater near you.
That's literally the name of the title of the movie, Everybody Wins, but I don't think anybody wins with this movie. This is kind of a mediocre movie, despite a good cast, Deborah Winger, Nick Nolte, but pretty generic for the most part. A pretty generic thriller, not really a good twist in it. Just kind of a forgettable movie. A lot of people never saw it, came and went. That's all I've got on it. I mean, I wish I had more to say about it, but you never hear people talk about this movie, and there's probably a good reason why, so that's all I gotta say on it. So on to the next film.
To today, Alan?
You know.
Dawn is a teenage hooker, and she's about to learn there's a new kind of law on the streets.
He's only a traffic cop. I'll antagonize him.
This is weird.
I'm not gonna lose my head.
The crime witnessed by a runaway who has just run into more than she bargained for.
Is this like a typical night for you or what?
Sometimes it gets rough.
Stalked by an unlikely killer with his own brand of justice.
Jesus, Lumley, look me in your face. Another wild night.
He'll stop at nothing.
First time.
And nothing will stop him. He's a one-man force, working a dangerous beat.
Come on, let's find some help.
We need a place to spend the night.
For two desperate runaways, there's no one but each other.
What are you doing?
I love you.
I don't know how to make love.
But for them, there's no escaping.
Where would she go if she wanted to hide?
They're street tough.
You're just gonna walk away?
But he's covering every corner.
Where is she? She ditched me. She ditched me too.
And they're fighting for their lives.
You got away.
There's no place safe on the streets.
Well, to be fair, this did come out when Christina Applegate was on Married with Children. She played Kelly Bundy, of course. But, I mean, it's not a bad idea. It's not a bad performance by her. But it's just it's just not that good of a movie. I mean, it's kind of a generic film. I mean, it doesn't feel like it's trying to tell anything important. It's just trying to be like a bait film. But, yeah, I got nothing on this one either. I mean, I've only seen like little bits and pieces of it. I thought Applegate was pretty good in that. I like Christina Applegate. I think she's a very good actress. But yeah, I got nothing on this one. This is just kind of like, okay, there's nothing really you can tell me about this movie. But anyway, moving on to the next movie. the first feature from this year's winner for Best Director, Jane Campion. And, honestly, one of her more forgettable movies. I think a lot of people don't really see a lot of what made Jane Campion work as an actor, as a director, later on down in her career with this movie. It's just kind of like, it's not a bad movie. I'm saying it like it's a really terrible movie, but it's not really a bad movie. It's just kind of like, it's there, but it doesn't really leave a lasting impact with you on anything compared to what Campion has done in the later years. Like movies like The Piano hold a lasting impact on you, and The Cut holds a lasting impact on people. The Power of the Dog holds a lasting impact on you, but this movie's just kind of like, okay, what else you got for me? I mean, it's like you're waiting for the next thing to come from this director, and she has done better works than this, but like I said, it's not a bad movie per se. It's just not one that I'm going to want to watch on multiple occasions again. Just like, okay, I'm glad to see where this director came from and what she's become now, but other than that, that's about it. That's all I got to say on that one.
Something wild happened to Molly Ringwald on the way to her wedding. She fell in love with someone else.
You haven't even asked me if I've slept with him.
Oh, I'm so terribly sorry. Robert Lindsay, Molly Ringwald, John Gielgud, and introducing Simone de la Brasse in a comedy about making love and money.
Do you realize she may be in bed with him at this very moment?
In the land of the rich and famous.
If you want to get on in the world, my dear boy, give her up.
Strike it rich.
So as you can see, it's a romantic comedy that takes place in the 1950s. Robbie Lindsay and Molly Ringwald are the couple in this. John Gielgud from Arthur is in this movie as the head of the company, I guess, that the Robbie Lindsay's character is working for. And, I mean, judging by the trailer, it definitely has the feel of a 1950s style romantic comedy, like something you'd see from like Pillow Talk with Doris Day and Rock Hudson kind of a way. But, I mean, it's one of those movies that just doesn't really, how do I put this? It doesn't really have that spark, I think, to make this work in a modern setting. I mean, it's clear that they're trying to make something very reminiscent of what Doris Day and Rock Hudson did back in the 50s, those 50s-style romantic comedies. But, I don't know, as much as they're trying their best here in this movie, it just doesn't seem like there really isn't a whole lot there to make it stand out on its own. I mean, it doesn't look like there's anything there that is truly that spectacular. I mean, Molly Ringwald can be a really good actress, and I've seen Robbie Lindsay be pretty good, too, and you got John Gielgud. He was great in Arthur, but other than that, though, I don't know. I mean, it just doesn't feel like one of those movies that I need to see or really need to go into all that much. But, like I said, it's the only thing that came out this week. It's the only thing we're talking about, I guess.